Uneducated white women.
America failed women tonight.
We have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
President Trump is back, and I cannot believe things played out how it did. It was such a crazy election night. And in today's video, we're going to talk about just that. We're going to discuss the election, what happens next, where do we go from here, and we're also going to react to liberals who are very upset at this and get into why and then my perspective on this all. And don't forget, if you like this type of content, be sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow a ton. Without further ado, let's get right into this. What happens next? So yes, it is official. Donald Trump wins 2024 US presidential election, a historic comeback. And it was historic indeed, because off the bat, you can say this now, Kamala did not outperform Biden in any state at all.
So you asked, are there any places that the vice president is overperforming Joe Biden in 2020? So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here. Harris overperforming in 2020.
Holy smokes.
There you go. So let this go away and see if there's anything on the east side there.
Literally nothing?
That alone is insanity, and it goes to show how many people really stood behind Donald Trump and his entire team. Because I will say, more people voted for Trump and the team behind him than for Trump himself. I know so many people that don't even like Trump but still voted for him because of Elon, because of Joe, because of Tulsi Gabbard or RFK Jr. Like, so many different facets went into the Trump campaign that really pushed him over the edge. I mean, when you realize that Trump won the Electoral College, the popular vote, Republicans won the Senate, and they're more than likely going to get the House, it is self-evident that you can't label everybody that voted for Trump or Republicans as bigoted or racist, homophobic. Like, that doesn't work. There's more layers to the story, and we're going to be getting into that. And I have to make an important note about this election and Trump winning in this historic comeback. It is clear that mainstream media is going away. And I think a lot of this Trump campaign and the reason why Republicans won so hard is because of people like you and because of independent media. A lot of my friends, a lot of the people in this space, it was us that really sought after the truth for what it is. Every news organization on the left swore they had it in the bag, and it's apparent that they were wrong. And I feel like a lot of these people were wrong because they were trapping themselves in an echo chamber. I get it. I admittedly have a bias leaning more right. I'm not going to hide away from that. I'm always going to acknowledge that and be open with that. Because I acknowledge that bias, I rely on tools to keep me centered and grounded to make sure that I'm seeing all sides. Because I know it can be hard to really trust the media and we're feeling discouraged by them. But remember, we are the media now, which is just so dope. Like, we are the media. When we empower ourselves to think for ourselves and see all sides and go after the truth, you realize you gain your power back. You're not being told how to think or where to think or, how to feel a certain way. No, this is all on you. And I can tell you this right now, that every mainstream independent journalist that I follow that talks about all the different sides and topics, and a lot of my friends and family and just content creators in general that seek the news for themselves, uses ground news as the best aggregator to really see what is going on in the media, and they haven't been blindsided to anything at all. With ground news, you can clearly see all the coverage details, what's leaning left, what's leaning right, the bias distribution, the factuality, who owns the news. You can quickly toggle between what the left is saying, what the right is saying, and that equips us, the people, with the tool that we need now more than ever to see the news through a clear lens. Ground News is a great website to use, but they also have an incredible mobile app that you can easily hop in and get the news for you. Even on their For You page, you have all the local news or even cities that you really want to keep tabs on. You can see what's going on in that area. And then top United States news, you can easily see, that's spicy, you can see some things that are really going on. You can swipe through the different headlines from the left, right, and center and compare, how is this story being said and who's saying what? And I can elaborate that more in the actual website. For example, over here on the left, something that the left isn't talking about that much, but the right is. Joy Reid says Florida is extreme fascist for rejecting abortion measure. The left probably isn't reporting on that much at all because they're probably realizing, this is how I'm taking it, they're probably realizing that these alarming words and being this abrasive is not working for them. I mean, Miami went Republican. Like, using these words and saying everybody's extreme and fascist, it's not playing out. Look into what the people actually believe and what they're saying, and you realize you need to be more sympathetic with them. And then on the flip side, still having to deal with abortion, Nevada approves abortion rights ballot measure. The right ain't talking about that at all, but the left is. And You would think the right would highlight that, like, hey, this is going on in Nevada, but I guess not. Even over here, Maryland voters passed abortion right. They're not really talking about the abortion stuff at all that's winning in these different states. Probably too focused on the win of being president, and they don't want to highlight that they have lost things that they were pushing for. But hey, this is why, like, there's so much that we're not being shown, y'all. So be sure to click the link below or scan the QR code here on the screen to get involved with Ground News. Subscribing to Ground News helps this channel directly, and it helps me keep being able to make content for you guys. They have a long time sponsor. I'm really grateful for them. As you see here, there are no ads on the platform. They are subscriber funded. And right now they're offering you guys a deal this month only. You can use the link below or scan the QR code on the screen for 50% off their Vantage plan. This is the plan that I use all the time. It's the plan that I highlight to you guys that shows you all the other cool features unlocked. So you can dive deep more into these articles, more into Blind Spot, and more into just getting the news for yourself. That 50% off the Vantage plan deal that Ground News offers is the best deal of the year. It is limited time and it comes to about $5 a month. So again, that is ground.news/Amir. You can tap the link below or scan the QR code on the screen to get involved and really see the news media for yourself, because you're going to need this in the next few years. I don't know where mainstream media is going to be going, but I know that Ground News is your hub to get the news for what it is. His team. Like I mentioned earlier, this election, the people voting for Trump, it expanded past Trump. It included the likes of Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek Ramaswamy, Tucker Carlson, RFK Jr. Like, there's so much more that's behind Trump, and at the end of the day, it's just a win for freedom. It's a win for speech. It's a win for healthier food. It's a win for, you know, enough of the gaslighting and identity politics. There's so much at play.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
I mean, that alone, spot on. That's why I'm so happy about it. There's so many people that have reached out to me, so many people on the left that have voted right for the first time, so many libertarians have voted right for the first time. This is not cut and dry liberals versus conservatives or like all Republicans. It's bigger than that. There's so many people who left the left. There's so many first-time Republican voters. There's so many people in behind Trump winning that expands past the left versus the right. It is people genuinely wanting freedom, because we saw what 2020 was like. We see the control. We see that, you know, Tim Walz wants to, you know, misinformation needs to be taken control of.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Where The View thinks that, you know, these social media companies need to be taken down.
Well, it would help if we could regulate social media.
No, end the censorship. Just be real and let the people talk and communicate amongst themselves.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
I made a whole video on this. It was talking about Big Pharma and the food industry, so watch that after this if you haven't already. But why is it that all these major companies sells healthier food in the UK, but here decides to keep pushing these chemicals on American citizens? We pay them... I can go to a whole rant. We pay the most money in all these medical bills, we're the most advanced, but why are we the sickest? It makes no sense to me. It's all the chemicals in our food that are finally be taken out of.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
How is it that the left media says everybody in this video right now is hateful, bigoted, racist, homophobic, transphobic, the list goes on? We know that that's not true. I literally have chills. Like, that's just not true. And I've never seen it to be true. I got in an argument on the street. If I was in James Clue's live stream, I'll put a link to that below, talking to people on the street about the election. Now I was talking to this white gay dude, and he's like, you know, Trump rallies and Kamala rallies are so different. They're crazy, this and that. And I'm like, have you ever been to one? He's like, no. And I'm like, so people keep talking out their hoo-ha and don't even know what they're talking about. They've never been. There are so many people being led by mainstream media and the lies being pushed instead of looking into things for themselves, and they need to be doing that. And I'm so glad that they're gonna have to. This election should wake you up to realize you've been lied to. You've been misled. heavily.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
Hello. The left swears they're so down and out and marginalized and this and that. Try calling yourself a conservative on a college campus. Try sifting through all the hate mail and messages that I get, all the names I get called. I just lost a childhood best friend. I mean, best friend, but like someone really notable in my life. That you look in my MacBook, you look into my childhood pictures. She's in a crap ton of them. She ended their friendship yesterday. I'm working on a video now talking about why you should be canceling your friends over politics because like now what? But she just wrote me off because I said people were voting for Kamala just because she has a female anatomy. I said it more vulgar, but it's the truth. People literally are. I don't know. This video fires me up.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before.
And they swear up and down that Trump's campaign hates the climate and isn't doing anything for it. Meanwhile, the guy backing the main seller of electric vehicles is backing Trump. That video, the first minute and a half, outlines clearly what this Trump campaign is about and what his team is about. Like, it goes to show that people weren't about to elect somebody that's been in power the last 4 years. How are you going to complain about how things are going? We're not going back, girl. You're currently in office. We're tired of it. You can't win off of that. The gaslighting, the scripted interviews, the lies, the fakeness, all the celebrity endorsements, and none of that matters to anybody who's really paying attention to what's going on. You had Kamala and every mainstream celebrity and news organization backing her, and then you had Trump, pretty much anybody notable backing him up. Like, it's a no-brainer. Like, what really did people expect here? We've had enough. This is the end of identity politics. This right here is what makes me the most happy. This is what makes me the most emotional. It just goes to show you can't run off of just being a woman. You can't run off of just being black. It's fake, it's phony, it's the opposite of what we're striving for. And none of this is to say that we're not ready for a woman president, or we're not ready for a black president. Hello, Obama. It just goes to show you can't win off of just that, especially when you're already in office. Like mentioned in the article, Trump outperformed every metric. Hispanics showed up more than ever before. Blacks showed up, gays showed up. Like, we've had enough. And I feel so bad for all the people that genuinely think their life is in danger right now because Trump's going to be the president, when that's the furthest thing from the truth. You know, you want to keep calling Trump a Nazi, a fascist, and this and that, and Trump supporters are all garbage, and this and that. It's not working. It's not real. It's not true. How are you going to sit here and call Trump this mega racist man when every race and ethnicity is voting for him? Are you just going to ignore their voices? I thought their voices mattered. But the biggest thing to me regarding this election and everything going on is the win for independent journalism. Him winning, the different record showouts, that's all due to the non-mainstream media. That is due to all the podcasts out there. That is due to my friend's channel, my channel. That is due to so many people who are vocal and spreading the truth for what it is. House and Habit, Brett Cooper, Amala Ekanobi, so many people I can just go off and name, but it's because of us making this content. It's because of you all sharing it. It's because of you all being more vocal with your friends and family. It's because of us that something like this even happened in the first place. Like, to really sit here and beat out damn near every celebrity endorsement, every celebrity concert, the mainstream media, all these huge rallies, and for Trump to win, and for record blacks to show up, record gays to show up, record Hispanics to show up, that speaks more volumes than I think more people realize right now. And it is huge. And so, speaking of what people realize, and, you know, independent media really pushing forward this campaign, and all the libertarians and the people leaving the left, is just a big group of freedom. Let's see what the liberals think and how they're reacting to it all.
This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to, They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids, and they feel like they have been told to just shut up.
That's exactly what has been happening. Just being told to shut up, being told that you're racist, that you're homophobic, that you're transphobic, that you're bigoted, that you're fascist, that you're voting for a Nazi, that he's literally Hitler. The people showed up. That's not the truth.
They have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line, and we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
And you're not going to do that if you're going to keep demonizing them. You're not going to do that if you keep suppressing information about them. If you're not going to stop lying about them. And oh my gosh, that's amazing, because he hit the nail on the head. There's no way to go about this if you're not going to sit here and listen to the other side. And that's why, again, going back to ground news, I appreciate how I can clearly see what is CNN saying and what is Fox saying? Because CNN, they felt like they had it in the bag, and it was clear that they don't. More people care about the economy more than anything, and the economy speaks, and it's not good right now. People want to go back to how life was in 2016, 2017, 2018. We were chilling, and we're not now because of who took control and everything just tanked. Adding to that, the barrage of name calling, the cancel culture, the lies about Trump and his campaign, it all just shattered. None of it's true. None of it matters. And if you really want to sit here and connect with the other side, you're going to have to sit down and listen.
I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite, who are hurting tonight. There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed.
Everybody can relate to that. I don't know who he's talking about like, you know, not being a part of like, oh my gosh. What we just talked about earlier. This doesn't resonate with the average American. It does not. For a lot of black women out there, this isn't a nightmare for them. They're doing fine. If they actually look at the data and look at their lives around them, they are fine. Black people are fine. This is literally why things happen the way they are.
Who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple of months. And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt. And they were hoping that maybe this time, one of their own could be seen as worthy.
It's not even that, like, one of their own could be seen as worthy. This is the problem with identity politics. You're simply, and that's why my friend literally stopped talking to me. But Van Jones just said it. One of their own as worthy. You are reducing Kamala and her campaign to the pigment in her skin and the fact that she has a vagina. That's it. You're saying we are crushed right now because we don't have a black woman in office. It's not even about that. Like, you're missing the whole thing.
And once again, they're facing rejection. And that hurts. They thought tomorrow morning they're going to walk out with their shoulders back a little bit, maybe able to breathe for the first time and feel like they belong someplace. They did everything that they knew how to do.
Where do black women not have a place to belong? Why is he sitting here acting like I'm getting lynched and beat by massa? Why is he sitting here acting like I'm getting sprayed by water hose? Why is he sitting here acting like it's the 1950s, the 1850s, or the 1750s? Homegirl, it's 2024. We're fine.
It's going to be harder than it should be tomorrow for them to hold their heads up. And they're not the only people who are hurting tonight. If you're a parent of a trans kid, your child's face was used as a springboard to power for somebody.
You literally just said child minor. Anyone that defends a minor getting surgery, life-altering surgery, behooves me. Blows my mind. I don't understand it. And yes, like, if you're 18, do what you want, but I'm not going to sit here and advocate for a child who can't even consent to have sex because they're too young to consent to change their sex for life because they're kids, they know what they are for life. What person is exactly the same as who they were when they were 13, 16, 18? Please tell me.
For Donald Trump, uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
Right.
So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedoms? And why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to deport, says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
White women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters. But when you put people in these boxes, I think that's a takeaway from this race.
Exactly. You can't just sit here and say, why are uneducated white women voted for Trump? First off, a lot of stay-at-home moms who you say you empower, you say you're for feminism, they voted for Trump because they're the one that buys all the groceries and they see, oh, inflation's hitting. Two, to just reduce someone and say, yeah, because you don't have an education, because you don't have a college degree, that means you're less than, when we know half these college degrees, at least the liberal arts one, don't really mean much. Like Homegirl saying, to reduce people to these boxes, it's not gonna fly.
I'm surprised at the results, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
This is why you lost. I don't know what to tell you. This is why you lost. Again, this identity politics is coming to an end to reduce people to their religion, who they have sex with, and what they look like, and sum up their entire worldview to that. That doesn't work. That doesn't fly. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'd much rather listen to 4 white men who all have different points of views than 4 different races and genders who all think the same. That's diversity of representation, and this is diversity of thought. And diversity of thought matters more to me than anything. I want different ideas. I want growth. I want to prosper. I want people to be challenged. I don't want a group of people who all look different but all think the same. We're not going anywhere. If we all think the same, then what? And then to keep putting people in these boxes, played out. Dried and crusty. The View is having a meltdown today.
So the election between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris has not been called yet. We do not know who the winner is, but it is pointing in one direction. And it's not final, but I just wanted to say that America failed women tonight, primarily. Trump has insulted women, berated them, has been found liable in court for assaulting a woman. And he took women's reproductive rights away. And instead of standing up to that, people voted for it.
Or maybe people looked into all of these cases separately for themselves. Maybe people looked into Trump's stance on abortion, how he wants more weeks, and he doesn't want a national ban, and even Melania's pro-choice. People looked into everything that man just said. They looked into every single thing for themselves and came to a fair solution that, you know what, it's not as bad as people made it out to be. There's a lot more context, there's a lot more fakeness, a lot more cases being dropped. There's more to it than just what this man is just pushing out. And that's what happens when you look up things for yourself and you're not being told how to think. When you're seeing both sides, when you're looking into the actual data, when you're looking into the files and the court proceedings, what you'll find is that half the time you're being led or swayed one way. And again, everybody has their biases, everybody kind of does it, but when you're actively talking about it and pushing against it and pushing people to see things for themselves and then openly realizing when you've been wrong, it's fair game. But people like this that just say, hey, Trump is this, this, and this, and this, as if there isn't more context. It's like, what are you doing? My thoughts. As we've talked about in this video, I'm very excited for this Trump presidency. I'm very excited to see how things are laid out, especially with this entire team that he's built. I cannot wait to see how RFK is involved, Elon's involved, Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek Ramaswamy, JD Vance, all these people that are rallying behind and supporting Trump. I can't wait to see his cabinet, who's going to do what. I'm very motivated and excited about it. I truly am, because seeing how things have gone the last 4 years, it hasn't been good. Seeing the control and push for mandates and censorship that mainly the left really pushes for so that they can control all the narratives, I'm so glad that's going to be out the way. But it's so wild to me we're being deemed as racist and misogynistic for not electing a black woman when there's people like, how are we the bad ones for not looking at those characteristics about her? Is that where we've come? I'm very excited that Trump won. When I was watching last night, I was with my best friend Brett Cooper. She has a great channel too. Make sure to subscribe. I was with her at her house, and we were just vibing watching the election. It was just so crazy seeing him sweep all these states, and then all the records show out for the blacks, the gays, Hispanics, in all these different counties, and how she didn't even beat Biden in any state. Like, comparing like how people came out for Biden versus Kamala. No. So I don't know. It really motivates me. It's made me emotional. It's made me very happy to see so many people think for themselves and really acknowledge and realize that they don't have to be led by mainstream media. That's what makes me the most happy. That's what's been making me the most emotional today. I've been going through all the messages and the DMs and the tweets and the amount of people, even there's been people that have voted for Kamala that support me. They're like, hey, Amir, like, I disagree with Trump and I'm going to vote for Kamala, but I really appreciate you showing me the different sides and pushing me to really think for myself. That's all I want. I want you to think for yourself. I want you to feel empowered. I want you to seek out more independent journalists. I want you to utilize tools like Ground News and see the whole landscape of the news media. I really just want you to be empowered. That's all I want. It's all I desire. And I'm so glad that that's been put on display for so many people. And I'm glad that for me, Trump winning really represents that. It represents the death to mainstream media. It represents how, these celebrities don't have the pull that they think they do. It represents that, like the guys said on CNN and MSNBC, they don't have a touch or a perspective on what is really going on as far as the center is concerned, or the center right or the right. They're not tapped in at all. And that is self-evident in their polls and them thinking that they were going to sweep it, and they didn't. It's evident with all the name calling, the canceling, the rudeness, the Hitler call, the racist, the homophobic, misogynistic. None of that, it means nothing. They've ruined the meaning of words. Now, when I hear someone on the left saying this is so racist and homophobic, what does it even mean? That means those words mean nothing to me now. So that's where I'm at with this. I'm so excited. I'm going to be posting more reactions to the election and different meltdowns that we're seeing. So be sure to subscribe for that. Thank you for all the support on this channel and watching my content. It means the world to me. And again, be sure to join my Patreon. For $1 a month, I'm mailing out signed Christmas cards. So you join my Patreon. In my Patreon, I have a pinned link. You can go in that link and put in your address, and I will send you a signed Christmas card. So be sure to do that. And as always, I really value you all being here, and I hope you all know that you control more in your life than you realize. With that being said, thank you for taking the time for being here. I appreciate you all a ton, and I will see you in the next video. Deuces.